In America today, you can't afford a home. You can't find an affordable rental. Wages haven't kept up in 20 years. Utilities are through the roof. Insurance is becoming impossible. And now it's becoming illegal to survive without any of those things. Not illegal to steal, not illegal to harm, not illegal to scam somebody out of their savings, mind you. No, illegal to sleep in the only shelter you still have. Your vehicle, your van, your truck, or your RV. We've entered the next chapter of the affordability crisis, where being poor isn't just difficult, it's becoming criminal. Surviving. Let's be blunt. The system didn't collapse by accident. Housing didn't become unaffordable by coincidence. People didn't suddenly become irresponsible or lazy all at once. And now, cities aren't battling homelessness, they're battling the visible presence of the homeless. They don't want to solve it. They want to hide it. And the easiest way to hide it is to make it illegal to exist without paying someone for permission. If you sleep in the wrong place, crime. If you park too long, crime. If your vehicle looks lived in, crime. If you try to survive outside the system, crime. You're allowed to be broke. You're just not allowed to look broke. Welcome to Offended Outcast. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel, take a moment and do so. It'd really help out. So how did we go from poverty to public nuisance? Think about how fast the definition has shifted. Poverty used to be a struggle. Then it became a stigma. Then it became an inconvenience. Now it's becoming a public threat. Municipalities are passing ordinances with language like public nuisance, vehicular habitation prohibited, long-term stationary parking banned, abandoned property removal. Translation: if you can't afford rent, your survival is now considered an offense. You can't live in a tent. You can't live in your van. You can't park your RV, not on streets, not in lots, not even on your own land in some areas. Let me say that again. You own land, your RV, your property, still illegal. What is that if not the criminalization of poverty? After all, they won't build affordable housing, but they'll build new jails. Here's the contradiction that should make everyone furious. Cities say they can't afford affordable housing initiatives. They say there's no money for low-cost building programs. They say tiny homes violate zoning. They say RVs are unsafe. They say car sleeping is a hazard. But they can afford new enforcement units, new ticketing systems, tow and impound facilities, fencing under bridges, spike strips on ledges, concrete boulders on sidewalks, more police overtime, more jail processing. They can afford everything except a solution. Because solutions don't generate revenue. That's the bottom line. Tickets do. Fines do. Impound fees do. Court costs do. Privatized towing does. Private prisons do. Criminalizing poverty funds the system that created the poverty in the first place. Okay, move along laws. Displacement as a new policy. Let's talk about these so-called move along laws. Politicians defend them by saying, it keeps the city clean. It keeps businesses safe. It protects neighborhoods. But what does move along actually mean? Move where? Move how? Move with what money? Where do they expect a single mother living in a minivan to move along to? Where does a 67-year-old on Social Security move along when the nearest rent is $1,400 a month and their check is $1,100? Don't make sense. Let's stop pretending these are policies designed to create order. These are policies designed to create invisibility. If they can keep you moving, they keep you unseen. If you're unseen, you're uncounted. If you're uncounted, they don't have to acknowledge you exist. All right. People imagine living in your vehicle is freedom. They see van life influencers on social media and think, oh, it's camping, oh, it's an adventure, or it's simple living. What they don't see is the fear. The fear that knocks on the window at 2 a.m. The fear of headlights pulling up behind you. The fear that your exhaustion looks like loitering. The fear that an officer who doesn't know your story and doesn't care. You're not parked, you're hiding in plain sight. And when that knock comes, when someone shines a flashlight into your only remaining private space, you're not treated as a resident. You're treated like you're trespassing on the earth itself. Try explaining that in a court appearance. After all, they took the American dream. Now they're taking the last resort. Our parents told us the same story my channel has exposed for the last 2 years. Go to school, work hard, buy a home, raise a family, retire comfortably. But the math has broken. The average rent is more than the average Social Security check. Starter homes are luxury products with granite countertops. Mobile homes are being bought by hedge funds. Tiny homes are being banned as substandard housing. RV parks have waiting lists and $900 monthly fees. So people turn to the last remaining option, their vehicles. And the response? It's not help, it's not compassion, and it's not reform. What is it? Criminal charges. You guessed it. This is no longer about the housing crisis. This is about the freedom to exist without being shaken down. Okay, let's slow down a little, because I can talk policy all day. But there are real people trapped behind these lines of municipal code. A veteran who served his country, now sleeping in a truck because the VA can't keep up. A senior who outlived her spouse, outlived her savings, and outlived her protection. A divorced father trying to stay near his kids without losing custody. A single woman hiding in a Walmart parking lot because she's safer nowhere else. People working full-time jobs, delivering packages, stocking shelves, answering phones, who still can't afford keys. This channel's comments tell the real story. You're not lazy, and you're not freeloading, and you're not looking for a handout. You are surviving in a world where survival became a luxury service. You don't want special treatment. You want dignity. You want safety. You want to live without fear of being arrested for going to sleep. Let me say that again, because it's insane this even needs to be spoken. You want the right to sleep in the shelter you own without being treated like a criminal. Is that really asking too much? Okay, we're entering a new era. People aren't embarrassed to say they live in their vehicles. They're angry. People aren't ashamed they can't afford a $2,000 apartment. They're exposing how broken that is. The narrative is starting to change, and I'm hoping to help change it. For decades, the system needed people to believe if you're poor, it's your fault. But now, millions of people are starting to say, if we're all struggling, maybe the struggle isn't the flaw. Maybe it's the design. That's what frightens them. Not the vans, not the RVs, and not the tents. The unity. Because once people realize the system doesn't work for the many stop obeying the system. Okay, so now what? We don't wait for permission to live. We don't apologize for surviving. We don't accept that success is the only valid way to exist. Here's what this new chapter demands. Communities, not isolation. Shared resources, not shame. Mutual protection, not quiet surrender. knowledge of your rights, not ignorance of the law, self-sufficiency, not forced dependency, because the system wants you compliant, it wants you scared, it wants you hiding, and it wants you silent. You know what terrifies them? People who are none of the above. The people in cars are not problems to remove. They are people the system has failed, and people who have now adapted. And here's what I want you to walk away believing. You are not a criminal for surviving. You are not disposable because you're not profitable. You are not a burden because you're not renting. If the cost of existing has become criminal, then the problem isn't the people. The problem is the system. They won't help you. They won't save you. But now they don't get to shame you anymore. They didn't destroy your future. They're just terrified you figured out how to survive without them. And now that you're awake, you're not just surviving the system. You are exposing it. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode. Until next time, folks, let's rise together.